Skype. So we'll see how this does. There. All right. One thing I want you to do is I don't care how you do it. My mouse is going crazy. We're in the middle of an election, right? Or we're in the start of an election. And some of you are following it. Some of you are trying to be oblivious to it. I'm not going to let you do that. So I'm going to write some things on the board that I want you to start thinking about, because I want your project for this semester to be finding information about the election. So let's talk about, if you was to put out a survey to your classes, to your other classes, and let's say you broke up into teams of 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you want to do, what would be some questions that you would put on a survey? Let's say that you wanted to keep it to 10 questions. What's wrong with this thing? What would some of the questions be? The election. In other words, you're trying to find out, okay, something's wrong. Something is not right. I've got something turned on, something's... Will this work? Okay, that works. Y'all see that, right? That's a line right there. So that means that the program's working. Okay, the crappy one works. And you was to, let's say you go to English 101 next, and you ask the teacher that you need to pass out a that's what's wrong. Now, that you need to pass out a survey for students to fill out and get back to you. What's one of the questions that you might ask on the survey pertaining to the election? Okay, yes, that's one of the first things you would ask. What do you consider yourself politically? Now, would you leave it open, or would you put 3 choices? What would the choices be? Or conservative, liberal, or libertarian, something like that. I would probably leave it to Republican, Democrat, and Independent. Okay? And if you have to put a little definition, that's fine. So that's one question. What's another question you might put on the survey? Do you follow politics? Is that what you were going to say? Do you follow politics? And what kind of question would that be? I wouldn't. Why do you not want to? Why do you not want to have open questions? Subjective. Why? How do you rate your opinion? How do you rate an opinion? You can't. It's like trying to push a wet noodle. Or trying to get a haircut over the phone. Can't. So what would you put? I put yes or no. You either in it, or you put a little bubble there, or tell them to circle it, or no. Okay? And maybe if they ask the question, what if I don't have a clue? Then that would be no. If you want to put a maybe, I wouldn't. Why? Because it opens it up. What does maybe mean? It's either yes or no. What's another question? Okay. I don't know why this thing's not writing today. What candidate? And this is where you would you leave it open, or would you put a list of candidates? You put a list of candidates because you wouldn't. Now, would you put all the candidates? Yes, because you don't know what the answer to this question is. So you put on the left, you put all the Democrats. On the right, you put all the Republican candidates. So what candidate? And that's up to you how you want to do it. I'm just going to put what candidate. And I'm going to put a note here to make sure you list all the candidates. All right, what other questions? Come on now, think like a statistician. Huh? That would probably be answered here. Are you old enough to vote? Okay, that would be a good question. Wait a minute, old enough. What would be a better question? How old are you? That's a very important question. How old are you? That would answer your question, are you old enough to vote? Oh, come on. I would probably, what would you think would be best to have for answers there? Classes. That's what I would do. 18 or below, and then or 17 and below, and then I'd go 18, 24. Make sure you have the same class width. Okay? And then 45 or older. Something like that. Because after about 45, they really don't care, because most 45-year-olds or more, they're paying taxes, and they're paying about the same taxes. I mean, you know, you're established. All right. 18 to 24, you're in college, so you're not paying taxes really. That's why most students are Democrats. They hadn't started paying taxes yet. That's a joke. Anyway, what else? Come on now, think about what's important in the election, maybe. Damn it. Okay. Okay. Well, that's too open, but you're thinking right. You're thinking very. That's what you need to think about. What? How would you question it? How would you put it in a question? Let's think about important. Think about the word important. She's right. She's right. Military, domestic policy, international policy, but Okay? The word important. Think about the word important. How many different things are there to think about in an election? Think of some things. Give me some things. You said military, you said foreign policy. What else? Come on, think about Donald Trump. What does Donald Trump talk about? Immigration. What else? Healthcare. What else? Trade. What about trade? What about trade? What's significant about trade? That China and Korea and Vietnam and Japan are cleaning our clocks and we are not getting anything? You know, that's a little bit. 1.5, no, it's not 1.5 billion, it's 50 billion dollars we're giving away in trade to China and Mexico and all these other places. Okay? What is what? What is important to you? And would you leave it open or would you give a list? Give a list. What? Huh? Would you want to? There's an old saying, KISS. Keep it simple. I'm not going to say the last word. But would you want to do that? Do you think? Or would it be more what? Be more work. But if you wanted to do that, that would be up to you and your group. Okay? What is important to you? Now, you need to be able to discern what's what. Some of y'all have no clue. Okay, that's what I'm trying to rectify. That's his question. Yeah, well, if you're going to choose more than one, what should you do? Put them in order. Ordinal. Okay? Let's discuss some of the issues. You said foreign policy. Y'all write that out. I'm not going to write it out. I don't know how to spell foreign. I think it's F-O-R-I-E-N or something. I can't spell I-E words, all right? E-I words. And that's why I shut up. They don't work all the time, all right? I don't like foreign policy. I don't like the word foreign. Okay? Oh, I'm offended. I offended somebody. Shut up. A. B. What else? You said immigration. Okay, this is really getting on my nerves. Oh, now it's the eraser. How am I supposed to deal with this? I ain't even going to talk about IT right now. Okay, immigration. What else? Unemployment. And when people think of unemployment, first thing they think, the next thing they think of is what? Money, but what? The economy. Healthcare. National security. What else? Y'all named a good bit of them. There's still one that a lot of people feel that it's important for a president to worry about, but I don't. I'm just one person, okay? Y'all have named to me what the president is responsible for right there, but there's one or two things that people try to incorporate into the
climate change, religion,
whatever. Okay, you're hitting on it. But climate change, whoever said that, maybe, even though it's a joke, I'm sorry. What religion? Think of what that is. What is that? It's religion, yes, but keep going. Keep going. What are those? Controversial, but okay, you got issues right. Who's ever said that? Social issues. Those are all social issues, what y'all are talking about right there. Okay, now, there's a good list. I don't know how many that is. 4, 5, 6, 7. You might want to get 10 if you can think of 10. Anybody else think of anything else? Okay, Social Security, Medicare. There's another one.
Would you like to do a brief summary about each one? Or
That's up to you. It depends on how ignorant you people are. And I hate to say that, but that is. Some of these people, I guarantee you, somebody's going to say, what's immigration? That's pathetic. It is. It's really pathetic. And somebody might say, what's health care? That's really pathetic. But they can tell you what the Kardashians do. So they can tell you what Eli Manning and all these other sports characters can do. But they don't know what national security is. Anyway, that's up to you. That's up to your group. But if you did, you'd put a dash and you'd put a definition out here. I can't remember what y'all do. Social Security, Medicare. Oh, Social Security / Medicare. And you need to educate yourself. What is Social Security? What's the big deal about that? Well, they're borrowing money against Social Security. They're getting blood out of what? A turnip. You can't get blood out of a turnip. The Social Security is being put into a bank, and it's supposed to be there when you get old. Okay? When I get old. I'm already there. But anyway, when I get to be 65 and I'm walking around with a walker, okay, I'm supposed to get this $200 a month or whatever it comes out to be, which is nothing hardly, but it helps to pay the bills, I guess, for an older person. But the whole point is, right now, they're borrowing that. They're taking that money and they're using it somewhere else, but they're not putting it back. Yeah, there you go. So she knows, all right? The whole point is they're robbing Peter to pay what? Paul. Your parents did good, whoever said that. The rest of y'all don't have a clue. Your parents' fault. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're taking out money out of Social Security, and you're not putting it back, but you're using that money to pay for the older people, and you're taking money that's not there. Okay? What else? That's 8, right? Let's get 2 more. Anybody think of 2 more things?
Well, we have national security, but we don't have anything about sending our troops overseas or being involved.
Foreign policy. I got that right there, foreign policy. That would be probably under foreign policy. Or you could put world police. Some people call it being world police. HI. World police. Now, of course, you wouldn't call it that. You would say U.S. presence. That's what you would call it, or something like that. To people that what? That hate us. It's like giving your bully your lunch money on the playground and then giving them an extra $1. But what does the United States do? We do that. People that hate us. Yeah. And we owe 19 trillion dollars. But we give money to people that want to bomb us. How smart is that, as Trump would say?
After the bomb.
Yeah. After they bomb us, or after they kill our people in California, or wreck our World Trade Centers, we give them money. Just like Iran. $150 billion we're giving Iran. And they hate us. How smart is that? What did you say? Humanitarian aid. Okay, there's 10 things that you can ask right there. All right, that's one question. All right, we're up to 5 questions. Let's think of 5 more. What else? Did we do age? Yeah, how old are you? What else? How old? What else? Think about and gender and race. Now, well, you're being racist. No, I'm not. That's just what this is called statistics. All right. So there's 2 questions right there. Let's do those 2. Now, 6. Gender. That's easy. Male or what? Male or female. There ain't no others. I'm sorry if I've offended anybody. I don't know what other gender there is. Okay, I don't. To put it, I don't know. I don't know what other gender there is. There's male and female. On the farm, there's a male and a female. That's it. Okay, well then they need to put other or something. I don't know what that is. Anyways, y'all, that's the group. Okay. Never heard of that before, but that's just mine. I could be stupid. All right. 7. Race. Three more. That probably you could say religion if you wanted to. I think some people would not answer it, but you could word it. How could you word that? Would you consider yourself a religious person? And then ask a subsequent question. If so, what are your beliefs? You could say something like that. I'm going to put religion, and then I'm going to put a question mark, because that, some people are like, what difference does that make?
Don't you think that a lot of religious people actually will not limit one as a way of...
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what happened in Iowa. Did anybody look at the statistics for Iowa? The entry poll, a lot of people thought that Cruz was going to get all the religious vote. They call it the evangelical vote. But it was split between Cruz, Rubio, and Trump, which the media could not believe that somebody that goes to church would vote for Trump. He's an atheist. He hates people. You know, he's a racist. But what are you looking for? Are you looking for a Sunday school teacher? Or are you looking for a leader? I'm looking for a leader. And I am very conservative when it comes to social issues, but I don't judge people. Okay? It's beyond my pay grade. But the whole point is, to me, that is not important. So if you gave me this questionnaire on the social issues, that would not be on my list. That would not be my top 3. Top 3 is national security, maybe foreign policy, and my foreign policy has to do with giving people money that hate us, like that stupid Iran deal that we just signed. And then the third one would be economics for the United States, and that includes unemployment and employment, because if you have good economics, everybody's usually what? Working. Okay, so religion, that could be in there. What is your religion, or what do you align yourself with? Something a little bit less abrupt. What else? 2 more. Let's get 2 more questions. Now, you don't have to use this. You can use whatever you want. Well, let's get 2 more questions out of it. Yes, sir. Very good. Very good question. Education. Why would you, well, you want to see which candidates align with what kind of people. Okay? You may not be doing this for just a math class. You may be doing this for a candidate. Okay? 10. You're thinking along the right lines, you can answer number 10 real easy. The next one. So we got gender, race, education.
How about income?
There you go. Good job. Those are 10 questions that you might want to think about. And I would like for you to get started on these. Okay? Now, I don't care. You know how to do a group project? You put the names of the group. I want no more than 5. Okay? No more than 5. If you want to do it by yourself, that's up to you. I'm not going to sit here and force you to work with a bunch of sandbaggers. What are sandbaggers? People that don't what? Work. So if you don't want to fool with sandbaggers, then don't. You can do it by yourself. But I do want you to at least, I want you to, you can do as much as you want to on this. If you really want to, if you want to survey 100 people, you can, because you've got at least 4 classes. 4 times 30 is what? 120. Okay? You can sit down in the lobby during one of your 1-hour breaks and hand out a survey and say, could you fill this survey out for my math class? You could do that. You could give it to your family, but that'd only be 4 or 5 people unless you got 100 people in your family. Okay? Huh? You can take it, yes, but not all 30 or 40. I would say a minimum of 30. Minimum of 30. That's one class that you, but now you don't go in there, like let's say you got sociology next period and you got it in room 224. You don't go in there and hand it out right before class. Why? Because that, you got to ask the instructor. You ask the instructor if you can give out a survey, and just tell them that you're in my statistics class and that you want to give out a survey either before or after class about the election. Now, what are we wanting to do? Well, you want to see the election, the primary in South Carolina is coming up. Okay? It's coming up, well, I know we're having a debate in Greenville on next Saturday. So it's probably going to be after that next Tuesday, which is February, what, 16th or 17th, something like that. Okay? So what are we trying to find? The number one goal you're trying to find is a prediction on who's going to what? Who's going to win the South Carolina primary. Okay, that's your main goal. Now, does that mean that you're going to predict who's going to be president? No. You're going to have 2 sets of data. You're going to have Democratic data, and you're going to have what? Republican data. So you're going to have 2 sets of data. So if you send out 100, you may get 30 that are Democrat, and you may get 100 or 70 that's Republican. So you're going to have 2 sets of data. You're going to have 2 charts. Okay? And then everything else after that is stuff that you want to find out. In other words, you might want to ask yourself, who votes for Donald Trump? What kind of person votes for Donald Trump? Or what kind of person votes for Rubio? Or what kind of person, and then you could find that, and I'll go through that as we go along. Okay? So what I would like for you to do today, not today, I mean in class, but I'd like for you to start thinking today. I want you to start writing this out. I want you to figure out who you're going to work with, and if you're going to work with anybody, that's up to you. And you need to have these. I think somebody Googled primary for South Carolina right quick to see if this is 17th. I can't remember the actual date. It should be. I think it's probably February 17th, but I don't know. Let's Somebody Google it and tell me. Be the South Carolina primary, 2016 South Carolina primary. Okay, 27th. So that's 1 week later. All right. So you need to have these surveys out, and you need to have them tabulated by the 27th. Now, what I mean tabulated, I mean just this question right here. Now, after you do that, then we'll talk about the other stuff. But you can, once you get this stuff in, you can do all sorts of things with it. Let's say that you get 2 sets of data in. let's say you do 100 people. And you get 70 that are Republican and 30 that are Democrat. Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to tally up, you're going to put in stacks the people that want to vote for Rubio. You're going to put them in a stack. You're going to vote for the people of Trump. You're going to put them in a stack, and so on. And then you're going to tabulate. You're going to say, okay, 20 people said they were going to vote for Rubio. 25 people said they were going to vote for Trump. 20 people said they're going to vote for Cruz. And the only reason I'm giving Trump is he's leading in the polls in South Carolina. That's why I'm giving him a little bit more. And I like it. Anyway, so that's 20, 25, that's 65. So you got 2 or 3 more for other people. Jeb gets 2 votes. And who's left? Christie gets none because nobody in South Carolina likes him. Parson gets 3 votes, and so on. Okay? All right, and there is your question for here. Now, what we'll do is we'll take each person's data and we'll put it in and see what the class found out. See, some of you may do 100, some of you may do 50, some of you may do, by the time we add them all up, we may have 300-400 people. And that's a good sample. And then on the 27th, we'll see how close we are. Okay? Now, talking about what's going on with the election, I want to ask you a question. In the polls for Iowa, the polls said that Trump was going to win and that Clinton and, Sanders were going to be a tie. I mean, they couldn't predict Clinton and Sanders. What happened? Rubio didn't win. Cruz won. And Trump came in second. And this one, what was the difference between Clinton and Sanders? 0.3%. This poll was correct. What happened here? Why didn't Trump win? Now this is subjective. This is your opinion. Why didn't he win? Some people say it was because of the debate. What did he do on the debate? He skipped the debate because of a conflict with Fox News. Okay? I personally don't believe that was it. Some people say that was it. The debate, he missed the debate, and that made people mad. Okay? What's another reason? Some people say Cruz had a better ground game. He had a lot more people out there knocking on doors. My opinion is that the caucus forum sucks. Okay? And I mean that in all sincerity. I don't mean any disrespect to Iowa. But the caucus forum, well, what happened to Ben Carson? Does anybody know what happened to Ben Carson? Ben Carson decided to leave the caucus after it started, after he did his speaking engagements. He decided to leave and go back home and get some new clothes or repack and, sit at home a couple of days before he went to New Hampshire. CNN got hold of this, and what did CNN say? That he dropped out. And then the Cruz campaign, who was still having speakers, the caucus was going on, the Cruz campaign said, you don't need to vote for Carson, he's out. You need to take those votes and you need to put it toward Cruz. And the people did what? That's what they did. So the caucus is very open to what? It's very open to, it's not a private what? It's not a private vote. And it opens itself up to a lot of what? Peer pressure and hearsay. I think the caucus forum is really what hurt Trump. I think that really hurt Trump. That's just my own opinion. Why do I think that? Well, the mathematician in me, polls don't lie. Okay? Trump should have won Iowa, but something happened. And I think it could be all three of these things. I think it could be maybe a fourth thing that I haven't even thought about. But I think this had a lot to do with it. A person is going to vote when they go into a polling booth versus if y'all talk about who y'all going to vote for one to another. You see what I'm saying? And the caucus is an open vote. You may write down, but you got to sit in a certain area. If you're going to vote for Cruz, you got to sit in a certain area of the room. If you're going to vote for Trump, you got to sit for a certain area in the room. Well, what if you're a family that's all over 18 years old? What are families going to try to do? They're going to try to stick together, but you may have one family member that wants to vote for Trump. But he's voting for Cruz because that's what the families do. So, I don't know what it's called. It's very biased, in my opinion. Yes, ma'am.
At work,
Uh-huh.
when everyone started talking politics, the thing with Trump that I hear most often is that they'll say,
He offends people.
well, that he's doing a show, and then when it comes down to it, he doesn't have vegetarian. So that's where they're at. That's their objection to him.
Do you know what I say to that? The man is a billionaire. He sits at tables and makes deals all the time. What do politicians do? Pad their pockets. And okay, and I'm just going to say this: when people say that to me, and I'm very anti-establishment right now. You couldn't get me to vote for Cruz or Rubio. I don't care, even if they're the Republican nominee. I don't care. I'm not voting for them because they haven't done anything in the last 20, 30 years. They've been talking about the same stuff for the last 20 or 30 years. Tired of it. So that's just me as one person. But when somebody, and I'm a pro-Carson, Fiorina, Trump person, and the first thing I tell people is, what has the politicians done? What have they done? They have done nothing. All they do is pad their pockets. Let me ask you a question. If you were in Washington and you got your pockets padded by lobbyists every time you voted on something, would you want those lobbyists to go away, or would you want them to stay in Washington if they were padding your pockets? Huh? You'd want them to stay, wouldn't you? But what if the vote went through? Where would they go? They'd go away. But what if the vote doesn't go through? What do? They stay and pad your pockets. So what does Washington want? Do they want progression or do they want stagnation? They want stagnation. Because if it's stagnant, they make more what? They make more money. Politicians are, in my opinion, politicians are to America what the senators were to Rome.
There was like a movie quite a few years ago that is like right up that alley. And I'm considering to find it because it's about Wayne. He gets into Washington and he gets just like Trump.
Uh-huh.
You know, just like Trump. And he comes up against all of those politicians that he wants change.
Yeah.
And he wants to reform them. I have to find it. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, that's what Trump, Carson, and Fiorina want to do. They want to run America like a business, and that's what America is. We are a business. We want the most bang for the buck. You had a question, Mr. Cathy? I saw your hand. Oh, I saw somebody's hand go up. Yes, sir. What happened was California, San Bernardino. San Bernardino and Paris came right at the same time. And people were asking, and the shift moved from having a person, an outsider, into Washington, into foreign policy, and that's when he started dropping. I'm a Carson person. If you look on my Facebook page, I have all three of them up there. And I've donated to all of them, and I support all of them, and I volunteered to help when they come to South Carolina. I don't mind helping all three of them. But his numbers started to drop after Paris and after San Bernardino because of foreign policy. I think you're going to see Trump and Carson. I think Carson will probably go with Trump, just like Huckabee's going with Trump. He's not, but Huckabee is kind of like Lindsey Graham. He ain't got but 2%. Lindsey Graham had 0%. And who did he endorse? Bush. So, anyway, I put a video up. I thought, to me, Bush is just irritating. He's just like Clinton. He's just irritating. Every time I see him on TV, I have to turn it. I don't know why. And I served under his father, and I loved his brother. But he just irritates me. There's a video of in Iowa. He's giving a speech, and these two guys stand up, and they say, "We were told we were going to be given $50 to sit in these seats, and we've been here for 2 hours, and we want our $50. Oh my gosh! That's awful. You know how much, and this is statistics. Statistics. This is statistics. Do you know how much Jeb Bush paid for his vote? In other words, he sunk so many dollars into Iowa, and he got so many votes. You know how much it came out to be? Anybody? $3,000 vote. Rubio was 300, and Cruz was around 250. Guess who was the least? Trump. And he came in second. Wouldn't it be great if Donald Trump could do things for America at a minimum cost? In one day, he raised $6 million for veterans. Did y'all hear about that? Nope. You didn't hear about that. But anyway, Carson has great things. Fiorina. I'd love to see Fiorina get up there. I'd love to see her get up there, but she can't get any traction. Who else got questions? Now, did I say that y'all need to vote for anybody? Okay. Did I tell you that one person was greater than the other? No. Okay. I haven't told anybody to vote, so don't go running out of here telling everybody that I'm trying to get y'all to vote for somebody. I ain't trying to get you to vote. But I'm tired of ignorant people walking around, especially in my classrooms. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people going, "What happened in Paris?" That's pathetic. Okay? You need to start watching the news. You're becoming an adult. You're going into the workforce soon. You need to know what the heck's going on. Instead of going, "I don't watch news. I don't involve politics." Well, you better start getting involved in something. Because these people that are running our country, they're going to be dipping into your pockets as soon as you start bringing in a paycheck. And right now, if you are a millionaire, do you know how much Uncle Sam gets? Anybody want to take a guess? 39%. Okay, for some of y'all, that for every dollar you make as a millionaire, Uncle Sam gets 39 cents of it. And there's some people that want more. There's some people that believe that a millionaire should give 40 to 50% of their money to the government. You think that's fair? That's a question. I'm just asking. You don't have to answer it. Is it fair for you? Let me ask you this. Let's say Miss Huell can take it. Miss Huell, she's like my sister. She studies every night until 3 o'clock in the morning for all of her tests. And she makes all A's on all her tests, from kindergarten up until the 12th grade. And she's studying even more now because of college. And she's got 5 classes, and each one of her classes she's studying 2 or 3 hours a night. And she's got an A average and everything. Well, let's say that the teacher says, you know, I really appreciate y'all working, but I'm going to take all the people that have A's, and I'm going to take 10 points off their grade, and they'll still have an A, but I'm going to give 4 people or 5 people 2 points off of your 10 points. I give you 2 points, you 2 points, I give you 2 points, you 2 points, you 2 points. And Mr. Cathy has an A, he has a 100 average, and I take 10 of his points, and I give him you, and you. Is that fair? I'm sorry. Then why is it fair because somebody makes $1 million and they work their butt off? Why is it fair for them to give their money up? People don't work. It's a good demonstration of dispersion. Okay? Now, I know this isn't political science, but people need to think about stuff like this. Okay? And I want you, as a class, I want you to get involved with the statistical part of it. And I want you to do this in the next couple of weeks. Now, I'm not going to give you a deadline date, but I will do this. I will say that I won't, let's see, when's the 27th? You said the 27th was on a Tuesday? Tuesday the 27th? We meet on Monday. So we can predict on that Monday what I want.
22nd is Monday.
The 27th.
27th, sorry, that's a Saturday.
Is that when the February? Did y'all say it was on February 27th? Why the hell is it on Saturday? I guess we want people out. Anyway, I thought it was on a Tuesday. Then what's that? No, I don't want it afterwards. We're going to do it before. So that means I need y'all to have y'all's stuff ready by the Monday before the 29th. What's the Monday before the 29th? Huh?
22nd.
All right. So I want you to at least have some kind of tabulations up by the 22nd. And I'll make this a test grade. Got it? We'll make this a test grade. I want you to have at least, oh great, now I don't have an eraser. At least 30 surveys. You do the surveys. In other words, you write the survey questions, a minimum of 10. And I gave y'all 10 today. Now, you don't have to use those. But one question you need to use is, who are you going to vote for? That's the whole point of the survey. All right? You need to have that question. 3, I want you to have results. 4, Dem/Republican, and have a prediction. Okay? And those are the 3 things that I want you to have. I will, and then I want you to have a presentation. In other words, put it together in a book. booklet presentation. I want you to put it together in some kind of folder. Make sure it's one binding folder, you know, one with a slip thing on it, or 3 little holes for notebook paper. Doesn't have to be typed. Doesn't have to be, but if you want to type it and do everything on Excel, that's great. Or word processor, that's great. Organization, it'll be graded on content. This is the content. Include 1 copy of your survey inside as an example. And then all the data, I'll look at the data. Of course, you need to put all the data in there. The content is all of this. Okay, that's the content. That's how it you'll be graded on, mostly. So the more organized, the neater it is, and then the most content you have in it will be better. If you just put 30 people in there and you do it all in pencil and it's half-ass, then you're gonna get a 50. Okay? Now, you need to decide who your groups are going to be, and if you're going to do it by yourself, and that's fine if you want to do it by yourself. I'm not going to force anything on you. But you need to have it. It needs to be turned in to me. What'd you say? On Monday, the what? 22nd. There is no wrong answers. Okay. Everybody, if you turn in a decent, halfway neat, then you're going to probably make a B or better, all right? There's not going to be any 2s or 3s unless you don't turn anything. If you don't turn anything in, you get a 0. I don't want to hear no 12-day grandmothers, 5 flat tires. I don't want to hear none of that. You turn it in Monday. If you don't turn it in, it's a 0, period. This is something easy to do. All you got to do is 30. Run 30 copies, hand them out, and tabulate. That's it. You do that, if you do that, let's say you're one person and you do 30 and you tabulate, then you're probably going to get an A as long as you do it neat and put it in a nice folder. Don't put it in a folder that doesn't have a binder in it, okay? And stuff's going to fall out and all that. Okay? Now, what about sandbaggers? Let's say that you 3 right here are a team. Y'all decide to be a team. And he's the guy, so he's going to be the sandbagger if you don't do anything. Because most of the time, the guy's the sandbagger. Then these 2 need to put a note to me somehow or an email that says he didn't do a that blank thing. And I will make sure I take care of that. Okay? They'll get the A's, you'll probably get a C. Okay? So if you want to work alone, I would suggest working alone. If you know somebody is a sandbagger, then don't take them on as a team member. Who's got questions? I think this could be a fun exercise. Let me tell you something else you might can do with it. Let's say that you wanted to find the mean standard deviation for some of your information. Here's something you could do. Your age. Let's say, I'm just going to pick the Republican side, 17 or under. And let's say you have 18 to, let's see, 18 to 24. 25. What's 18 minus 25? 7? 25 to 29. 25, 26, 27, let's say 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 31, 32 to 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. And then you do 39 and over. 39 and over. Let's say 39 to whatever 7 is. 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, thank you. And let's say you just leave it at that. And let's say you have count 17 and under 2, 18 to 24, 5, well, that'd be 15 because that's probably going to be proportional to what y'all have. 25 to 33, that's 20, and then 5 and 5. Okay? Well, how do you find the mean and the standard deviation for a frequency distribution? Well, there's a formula for it, and it's a mean-looking formula, but the mean of a standard frequency distribution is equal to the summation of f times x over n. Okay, well, what is f and what is x? Well, this is f. But what's x? X is your midpoint. Why do you have to have a midpoint? Well, you cannot put 17 and under there. You can't do that. So you're going to have to probably change that to 15 to 17, or say 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 11 to 17. Okay? You're going to have to find the midpoints of all those, and I told you how to find the midpoint. You add them together. 11 plus 17 is 28. Half of 28 is what? 14, Hubert. That's right, class. Thank you for the interaction. And then you just add what? What's the class? 7? So just add 7. That's 21. 28. 28 plus 7 is what? 35. 35 plus 7 is what? 42. And there's your x, midpoint. This is our class today, if you're wondering how to find the frequency, how to find the mean of the frequency distribution and standard deviation. Now, instead of pulling up a bunch of stuff, I'm just going to Google and try to find the formula because it's a big long formula. It's n times f times x squared, summation of f times x squared minus the summation of f times x quantity squared over n times n minus 1. Well, let me just write it down. Hold on a second. Make this smaller. Now, it's very intimidating when you see this formula. So, variance is equal to n times the summation of f times x quantity, or f times x squared minus f times x quantity squared over n times n minus 1. Okay? Bless you. And then, of course, if you want to find standard deviation, what do you do to the variance? Say what? I heard, that's what I heard. Okay, I heard, Speak up, enunciate. No, that's when you do data. This is a frequency distribution. You're doing data, okay, like test scores. This is not test scores, this is frequency distribution. How do you think about it. How do you get the standard deviation from the variance? You take the, I heard square root, enunciate, square root. You take the square root of the variance. So the standard deviation is equal to the square root of all this. So this is what you got to find. So you're going to have to do some more columns, just like we did in the standard deviation. So I'm going to pull up my handy dandy Excel spreadsheet. Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna ask about the survey. Should we like, we're gonna pass them out, like I'm gonna take mine first.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking like if I just set them on like a table and ask them to go out, should I do like a box with like a slit in it so that
Yeah.
other people are, you know.
That would be the best. If you do an open setting like that, it needs to be a secret ballot or a secret, because you remember, do you want validity? Yes. Validity is not one guy filling out each one and just circling stuff and doing 20 of them. That's not validity. That's you being a sandbagger. Okay? But if you do something like that, yes, you don't want it sitting out on the table, and just put it on a pile on the table when you get finished and you leave it there all day. You don't want that. You want a box to put it in, so that's a good idea. Yes. If you do it in a classroom setting, then you don't have to worry about that, because you're going to take them up when? At the end of class, or whenever people keep bringing it to you. But remember, ask your instructor on how the best way to do it. Okay? I don't want you going in there saying, my teacher said I had to do this and you have to. Don't be going in there and doing that. Let's say Miss Sadat. You got Miss Sadat in her sociology. Hubert gave us this thing. When can I do this, and how's the best way for me to do it? And if she says, I really don't want you doing that in my class, then you say, okay, thank you. Don't say Hubert calls you stupid. Don't say that. Don't say anything like that. This is a voluntary thing with each teacher. If the teacher don't want you to do it, then you don't do it. You just hang out in the lobby outside after class and give it to the students as they come out. Because in the hallway, you can get away with more than you can in the classroom. Okay? All right, but that's a good question. I'd get a box, and cardboard box, and put a slit through it. And where do you work? Just curious. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, is that the?
I'm thinking about the
Yeah, I know where Simpson is. I'm just trying to think.
There's a bus.
Oh, back where all those offices are. Yeah, I know where, behind Hendricks Hospital, behind Hendricks
Oh,
Veterinary Hospital, back there where all those offices
yeah,
are.
behind that.
Yeah, okay. I know where you're at now.
That's how they work. It is nice.
Yeah, I had to go out there one time for something. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, that's a lot of people. How many people work in your office or in your building?
Over 100.
Oh, well then you got it made.
I'll get to my nursing department and then I'll do that.
Oh yeah, you got it made. You don't even have to do classrooms. You can if you want to, but you got it made. But if you have a workplace like that, put your bucket in there with a top on it, put a slit through it, and let them put them in there. Okay, where am I going? Here we go. Let's pull up our handy dandy Excel spreadsheet. I'll have to type these in right quick. And yes, I know what time it is, so y'all just chill. Where's my windows? There we go. No sneezing in class. All right. So, let me pull up my handy dandy. There we go. Let me do this. Let me do this. And do this. And pull this over here. There we go. So I've got F. I got 2, 15, 3, 5, and 5. And then X, I got 14, 21, 28, 35, and 42. Now, what do I need for my mean? Huh? Not these, it's frequency distribution. Remember, you're not doing test scores. You're doing frequency distribution. What do I need right here? What do I need? I need F times what? F times X. So I go right here and I do a column called F times what? F times X. Equals this times this. And I copy that down. Now what am I going to do with F times X? What? Well, what does it say right there? I'm going to do what? Big E. What does that big E mean? Add it up, Hubert. Thank you, class, for enunciating. Y'all sound like a bunch of people that are drunk and slobbering in the carpet. Speak up. Okay. Where's my summation? I can't see it. Hold on a second. There it is. And there's your numerator for your mean. How do I know what n is? Well, what I do to all my x's. Add them up, Hubert. Thank you, class.
Can you make the numbers bigger, please?
Thank you for enunciating. I can hear you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so how do we find our mean? Our mean is what? 812 over what? Yep. Divided by 30. So what's our average age of people that are voting for president? 27. That's our average age. You just found an average from a frequency distribution instead of a list of test scores or a list of ages. You just found the mean. So you need to put X bar right here. And we'll put that in green or yellow because that is very important. Now what do we need? Well, look at this. Look at your formula right here. Do we have F times X? Do we have that? That's the summation right there, sorry. Do we have the summation of F times X?
Yes.
Yes. It's right here. So we got that number. What else do we need? F times what?
X squared.
So we got to square X and we got to multiply it. So let's go over here and I'm going to make two more columns. I'm going to put X squared. And that's equal to 14 squared. And then I'm going to copy it down. Oops, sorry. The wrong button. And I'm going to rewrite F just because I don't want to have any mistakes. I'm just going to copy that down right here. And what's my next column going to be called? F times what? X squared, Hubert. F times X squared equals this times this. And what am I going to do with F times X squared? Add them up. Good. So now I have this. I have what's in? 30, Hubert. So variance is equal to 30 times what? What's the summation of F times X squared? Did I say it? Hold on. There. 30 times what? 24,304. Put that in brackets. Minus what? Well, what is F times X? Summation of F times X is what? 812. And what am I going to do to 812? Square it, Hubert. That's what it says. Square it. And divide it by 30 times what? 29. All right, crank that out. Take the calculators and crank that out. Hurry, because some of y'all are going to go into electric shock because it's 25 after. Something called electric shock or cardioarrhythmia or something like that. So 30 times that BA number right here. That's going to give you a real big number. Minus this number squared. And what should this number give you? Should it be positive or negative? Should be positive. That number right there should be positive. If not, you got something wrong. Equals 30 times what? 29. So now right here, it's equal to this number minus this number divided by this number. And I got this number divided by this number. Did y'all get a variance of 80? Variance equals this number. And what do we do to get the standard deviation? Raise it to the 1/2 power, take the square root. So that's equal to this number raised to the 0.5 power. So you got a standard deviation of 9. Is that good or bad? It's okay. I mean, what's your mean? 27. Your mean is 27, so that's a third. So you're okay. And that's how you find the mean and the standard deviation of your age of your groups. All right, I got to call the roll, and y'all can leave after I call your name, okay? Oh, I got to stop the do-jigger, too. Hold on. How do I do that? There we go. Stop recording. And I need to stop recording for... Hold on, I'm working. You'll just have to bear with me a minute. There we go. Stop here.